perceives impressions in his dreams and is sometimes even aware during his sleep that he is asleep, whereas a heavy slumber blots out even dreams and plunges the mind too deep for consciousness of self. Why does no one admit his failings? Because he's still deep in them. It's the person who's awakened who recounts his dream, and acknowledging one's failings is a sign of health. So let us rouse ourselves so that we may be able to demonstrate our errors. But only philosophy will wake us. Only philosophy will shake us out of that heavy sleep. Devote yourself entirely to her. You're worthy of her. She's worthy of you. Fall into each other's arms. Say a firm, plain no to every other occupation. There's no excuse for your pursuing philosophy merely in moments when occasion allows. If you were sick, you would take a rest from attending to your personal affairs and drop your practice in the courts. And during a spell of improvement in your condition, you wouldn't look on any client as being so important that you'd undertake his case in court. No, you'd devote your entire attention to recovering from your illness in the quickest possible time. Well then, aren't you going to do the same in these circumstances? Away with every obstacle, and leave yourself free to acquire a sound mind. No one ever attains this if he's busy with other things. Philosophy wields an authority of her own. She doesn't just accept time, she grants one it. She's not something one takes up in odd moments. She's an active, full-time mistress, ever present and demanding. When some state or other offered Alexander a part of its territory and half of all its property, he told them that he hadn't come to Asia with the intention of accepting whatever they cared to give him, but letting them keep whatever he chose to leave them. Philosophy likewise tells all other occupations, "It's not my intention to accept whatever time is left over from you. You shall have instead what I reject." Give your whole mind to her. Sit at her side and pay her constant court, and an enormous gap will widen between yourself and other men. You'll end up far in advance of all mankind, and not far behind the gods themselves. Would you like to know what actual difference between yourself and the gods will be? They will exist for longer. And yet, to me, what an indisputable mark it is of a great artist to have captured everything in a tiny compass. A wise man has as much scope before him as a god with all eternity in front of him. There is one thing, too, in which the wise man actually surpasses any god. A god has nature to thank for his immunity from fear, while the wise man can thank his own efforts for this. Look at that for an achievement, to have all the frailty of a human being and all the freedom from care of a god. Philosophy's power to blunt all the blows of circumstances beyond belief. Never a missile lodges in her. She has strong, impenetrable defences. Some blows she breaks the force of, parrying them with the slack of her gown as if they were trivial. Others she flings off and hurls back at the centre. Letter number 54. Ill health, which had granted me quite a long spell of leave, has attacked me without warning again. What kind of ill health, you'll be asking? And well you may, for there isn't a single kind I haven't experienced. There's one particular ailment, though, for which I've always been singled out, so to speak. I see no reason why I should call it by its Greek name, difficulty in breathing being a perfectly good way of describing it. Its onslaught is of very brief duration. Like a squall, it is generally over within the hour. One could hardly, after all, expect anyone to keep on drawing his last breath for long, could one? I've been visited by all the troublesome or dangerous complaints there are, and none of them, in my opinion, is more unpleasant than this one. Which is hardly surprising, is it, when you consider that with anything else you're merely ill, while with this one you're constantly at your last gasp. This is why doctors have nicknamed it rehearsing death, since sooner or later the breath does just what it has been trying to do all those times. Do you imagine that as I write this, I must be feeling in high spirits at having escaped this time? No. It would be just as absurd for me to feel overjoyed at its being over, as if this meant I was a healthy man again, as it would be for a person to think he has won his case on obtaining an extension of time before trial. Even as I fought for breath, though, I never ceased to find comfort in cheerful and courageous reflections. "What's this?" I said. "So, Death is having all these tries at me, is he? Let him then. I had a try at him a long while ago myself." "When was this?" you'll say. "Before I was born. Death is just not being. What that is like I know already. It will be the same after me as it was before me. If there is any torment in the later state, there must also have been torment in the period before we saw the light of day, yet we never felt conscious of any distress then. I ask you, wouldn't you say that anyone who took the view that a lamp was worse off when it was put out than it was before it was lit was an utter idiot? We too are lit and put out. We suffer somewhat in the intervening period, but at either end of it there is a deep tranquillity. For unless I'm mistaken, we are wrong, my dear Lucilius, in holding that death follows after, when in fact it precedes us as well as succeeds. Death is all that was before us. What does it matter, after all, whether you cease to be or never begin, when the result of either is that you do not exist? I kept on talking to myself in these and similar terms, silently, needless to say, words being out of the question. Then, little by little, the affliction in my breathing, which was coming to be little more than a panting now, came on at longer intervals and slackened away. It has lasted on all the same, and in spite of the passing of this attack, my breathing is not yet coming naturally. I feel a sort of catch and hesitation in it. Let it do as it pleases, though, so long as the sighs aren't heartfelt. You can feel assured on my score of this. I shall not be afraid when the last hour comes. I'm already prepared, not planning as much as a day ahead. The man, though, whom you should admire and imitate, is the one who finds it a joy to live, and in spite of that is not reluctant to die. For where's the virtue in going out when you're really being thrown out? And yet there is this virtue about my case. I'm in the process of being thrown out, certainly, but in the manner of it, it is as if I were going out, and the reason why it never happens to a wise man is that being thrown out signifies expulsion from a place one is reluctant to depart from, and there is nothing the wise man does reluctantly. He escapes necessity because he wills what necessity is going to force on him. Letter number 55. I've just this moment returned from a ride in my sedan chair, feeling as tired as if I'd walked the whole distance instead of being seated all the way. Even to be carried for any length of time is hard work, and all the more so, I dare say, because it is unnatural, nature having given us legs with which to do our walking, just as she gave us eyes with which to do our own seeing. Soft living imposes on us the penalty of debility. We cease to be able to do the things we've long been grudging about doing. However,